Hadouken! Trying to go along with the rad keep tune shanty that's always playing here and in my head all the time. Welcome again to another segment, I guess, installment, another great, jolly, grand time together here in this wonderful community, which is called Ebony TKR. It's the R5 Life with Lito. I am Lito the Second. R5, most of the time, of the Landsrad. What deep? Server 1834, that's right, in Ebony, the King's Return. This particular video is a remake of it. You're always learning something new, hopefully, and it's quite fun, and things can be found and discovered everywhere if you're psychotic and obsessed like I am with particular events, mini games in this wonderful game. This one being in particular Revelation of Maya. I don't remember when I did the first video on it. I know it was probably torturously long, but there was a lot of good stuff in there, I believe, and you can go back and revisit it if you want. But I think this one is going to be a little bit more fine-tuned and better as far as new discoveries, new strategery, and the best approach that I have found, that I have discovered, that I have developed. I'm not quite sure how to say this, but I kind of can score a lot in this event. I'm not trying to brag or anything like that. It's great to score high because you want to rank high if you are passionate about this particular element of this event. This is why I got so obsessed with it, because of this amazing monster hunting, a monster of monster hunters, Gaius Julius Caesar, Julius Caesar, who can be potentially, in my humble opinion, the best monster hunter in the game. There are some areas in which he is inferior to others, and then there are degrees of difficulty when it comes to awakening him, maximizing his potential because his particular main skill and such. But if you are committed and or, for lack of a better word, obsessed with putting this man together, awakening him over time, energy and patience, you are going to be in great shape to slay the biggest of baddies, maybe earlier than you thought. What are you talking about, Lito? Well, I'm going to look at a saved Shibloiples here. All right, I've been able to take the Leviathan out for quite a while now, and not with Caesar, with Maria Theresa in particular, but I've got to use the, what's that? Journey? Everybody drink. Romune. It's a real thing. Can you believe it? Japanese soda there. They're got the little, the orb that drop. Anyways, it's a real drink. So you're gonna really need to pay attention to this Leviathan here. This is with I think it's just a junior Steen, junior March buff. This one was a senior, and then a Romulan drink, of course. But these amazing drops. This is why you want to develop a strong monster hunting march, so you can have access to these incredible drops like these rare packs, and especially with our development generals who have that extra element. Most of the time, at least, you can pair them with somebody of the boosted double drop rate. All right, you're going to be rolling in good rare things more often. Okay, but most recently, I want to take a look at something that I saved for this particular purpose. Here, let's take a look at the Kraken, a B20. Okay, this was attempted with Caesar, and who I had Theodora with him, but I moved Hermes in with him to get those Covenant buffs and the biggest March size capacity buff in the game. hands down. He's 2% higher still than Rostam. Okay, and that's if you go about it the right way. We won't get into that. And have the general skin like I do. Anyway, this was attempted after I discovered that I can now, with a senior March buff and no Romulan drinks, slay a B19. Let's look at a better drop here. B19, that one's fine. This one here. All right. B19 Stymphalian bird, this particular a mythical beast that has to do and related to Ares. Boom! Zero wounded. All right. 4.4 million March size. That is a senior size March buff with Caesar, and Theodora in this particular case. All right, of course, Hermes going to be able to do it too, but Theodora's got she doesn't have nearly as high as mounting attack and other mounted troop buffs, but she does have a monster debuff and double drop rate, a high double drop rate. Anyway. I was like, yes, I finally arrived. Stymphalian Bird B19 with a senior March buff that I can use fairly often if I find enough of these. Zero wounded. So I went after the crack-a-lackin' after that one, and I'm like, I need to know. I must know what will it be now? Because when I went T15 back when, I was like, I got to try this Kraken, and I had less wounded than I did before with the T14s, but T15s cost more to heal, so it wasn't panning out as far as the profit margin. All right, I was still in the negative even with the double drop rate. But with Caesar and Hermes now, nothing besides the senior March buff on there. And of course, all my other things that I've been investing in as far as, blazons and such. I can profit from regularly slaying B20s. And yes, having 5,860 wounded, but the healing and resources is surmounted and is dwarfed by these two level 20 boss monster chests. All right, and these rare packs and what they unlock. Anyways, wanted to go into that because that is why I was so passionate about Caesar. And I've got two really strong marchers. Maria Theresa, some would argue that she is better, and she is in some ways, but Caesar here, I only have the Asura armor on him. I put the Rurik set on him when I go after those. He is phenomenal as far as your attack buffs. He does have a fortune buff. All right. And some incredible, a whole heck of a Triceratops Jurassic Park hoop ton of monster debuffs in there. He is tremendous. The biggest thing that I talked about, well, I mentioned earlier, was he can be difficult because it takes time and patience and good high scores on the Revelation of Maya. And to fully unlock his potential, you're going to need a dragon because you'll get 45% mounted troop attack with Caesar, and that's really dang high, but you're going to miss out on an extra 15% if you don't have a dragon on him. You can move dragons around and wait that hour if you want, but you are going to perform the best and have Caesar perform his best and and slay the biggest monsters with this particular dragon, the beautiful pink one, Fasalt. And the only way to get Fasalt is from the Wheel of Dragon War, which is going on now during this event. So if you want to guarantee yourself one, $330, three triple coupons on the 99.99 package, and one triple coupon on the $10 package. So you're using all four on this, and two doubles on the $10. So you can, for the cheapest amount, $330, four triple coupons, two double coupons, okay, get another dragon, guaranteed. You might even get luckier and get it beforehand. But this is the one you want. It is going to outperform all the other dragons for Caesar. Why? Well, yes, it's got all this awesome stuff, and I'm still working on my refinements, but you've got the in-rally mounted troop attack buff, which is it's mandatory to rally these. Rally buffs usually will be eventually, without you knowing it, maybe higher, way higher than doing something solo. And that's even if you rally it by yourself and no one's in there with you. Okay. Now, I know the other passive buffs on here have nothing to do with mounted troop attack, but you get Basalt up there, 14, 15, 16, level 17 and beyond, you are getting a huge in rally amount of buff. That's the passive one, okay? That's going to increase in the background and be happening. It's different than the talents. These talents, which now can go up to 120, and I've stopped here at 50 because it costs so much, and I'll get there eventually, has the other layer that you want, another in rally mounted troop attack. All right, this one isn't as high, but it can go far higher. I believe up to 60% eventually, and that's stacked with the 100% that's in there. You see what I'm saying? You are 160 or beyond as far as in rally mounted troop attack. And this bad boy here, another one on top of it, mounted troop attack on monsters specifically. I mean, it's the only dragon out of all the dragons that I don't quote me on that, that has a specific talent that is mounted troop attack on monsters. So it behooves you, if you want to invest in Caesar like I did, you go after this dragon and just commit to leveling him up. And boy, oh boy, does it take a long time. But when you get there, before you know it, you will be reaping the rewards like we saw in those various reports. Okay, so that is the context in which the revelation of Maya became such an important event for me and exciting. I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's something to do when you're rallying or during server war if you're not getting involved and you can't gather. It's like, I'm going to go in here and fart around and try and score the most. Honestly, the rewards here in these chests, they're not the greatest. They're potentially good as far as like what you can get. These are random though. Mayan gem chest there. All right. And it 500 is the most, but if you win these regularly and if you hoard them, over the course of however many events, because you're going to be playing this to get Caesar, these can give you a whole heck of a lot when you open a whole bunch at once. But I digress. This is what it's about. This is the event in which you can get and awaken Caesar for free. Okay? I did that. It took a long time, but like I said, you get there and you're like, wow, it didn't take any time at all. At least it feels that way. I've got him awakened and I want to get the rewards in this, not to finish, but I happen to score the highest still. Sorry, everybody. And I don't know, maybe I can create him twice. Maria Teresa, you can only have one, but I believe Caesar, you can have multiple. Of course you can, because you got to recruit him and then you got to perfectly dismiss, but not with these fragments. Anyway, I digress there a little bit again. Um, uh, that is awesome to have access to such a powerful monster hunter like Caesar and Maria Teresa. Free events that just take time and patience and energy. That's what it's going to cost you. You are going to equip yourself with the best monster marches to bring in the greatest, rarest, and most valuable monster drops that honestly cost a ton of money. All right. And then eventually, we're going to stack even more on top of it. Oh, so exciting. That's the last piece of this for us. And it's going to be cool when it happens. We're all going to be there together. But that is the crowning glory of placing high in this 45, which is great to get more than 30 for first place, but then second place, that is awesome. You are just chipping away at the 16 total times you need to recruit him. Ooh, third place, fourth place, fifth place. To placing in the top 5 is going to get you those pieces, those fragments you need to for speed, to take them out, to take them down, to bring it. That's a Independence Day quote. Very what's the word? Um, uh, uh, there's a cool word. I totally forgot it because stay on track, Leto. Yeah, Caesar. Revelation of Maya. All right. I would argue he is better than Maria Teresa because of the benefit of the dragon and more debuffs, but a significantly less percentage of double drop rate. Bummer. But if you're playing these big baddies with no wounded, sorry about that, the double drop rate doesn't matter as much. You want the double drop rate because it feels good, it's awesome, and you're swimming in all those loot-ations. Thank you, Wiz. Uh, uh, but getting any of those regularly is huge. All right. So I have not gone through my Revelation of Maya run yet because I wanted to do it with you, everyone. I'm a loving guy. I'm a free love guy. Everybody, let's do it together. Anyways, um, this last time this event was here, I'm like, I'm going to make a video on it, and I scored the max score I've ever gotten before in a rather different way than I intended, and I was like, whoa. And I tried to beat that score over the rest of the days that they had, but I couldn't. I tied it a few times, trying some other strategery, but I was like, I don't want to show that max score without going through it once together. We probably, I would say, probably won't get the max score, which for me was 11,250 points. Okay. Before I had 11,195 or 11,200. I'm like, yeah. And then I got 11,250. I couldn't believe it. All right. But over 11,000 is where you want to beat it, possibly comfortably take first place. All right, if you haven't shared the secrets, I don't know. Secrets, who knows? Maybe you already know it already. Okay, and this can be done at a low level, honestly. As far as keep and monarch, a lower. We'll get into those. Let's dig in more. We're going to do some things in this run together, but I don't want to do it too long or too much uh, uh, because it could take a long time to get the highest score possible. What do you mean? You're going to have to be patient with this game. There are things that need to happen, and it's totally RNG luck based to get, excuse me, what you must have to score the highest. You can still score really high with other things, but I am talking about must have to score the highest. Okay? You might not, but you'll still score really high getting some of these. But if you don't get some of them, you are not going to score very high or the highest you can. Hope that made sense. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll go into it, and I'll talk about other details that need to happen. There are must-haves when it comes to epic buffs. Okay? There are random buffs you get, but then there are epic buffs. All right? That you get from the Mayan Guardian. All right? And it's two different stages. The must-haves, my friends. By the way, I hope you're all doing really well or staying safe during your server war right now. We're in good shape to win this one. I was helped out in conquering one of the temples that felt good. I hadn't done that in a long time, but I still have a long way to go to that 700 million points to unlock another seat in the Council of State, which will be a mounted general seat. Oh man, that's going to be a lot of, so many more mounted troop buffs. Anywho, must haves. Look at this. We got some notes. Can you see them? Okay, good. How to score the highest in Revelation of Maya event. I don't know why I talk that way, but I kind of feel when I look around, I'm like, Lito, you're such a geek, you Dorcas Malorcas. I mean, okay, yeah, cool. I like it. It's awesome. Anyways, how to score the highest. This is the must-have list. Okay, and it pretty much kind of goes in order as far as how important they are. They are all must-have, but you can still score really high without some of these. However, to score the highest, you're going to need these. All right. The first one is, which I said before as a different one, and I'll tell you why briefly when we get into the run. First one you want, and you can only get this. You can only get this. You can get one of 6, I believe, different epic buffs in stage 1 when you start your runs. Okay? the runs in Revelation Mine, not runs, you know. Anyways, money bags. Money bags is what you want. Before I said brutal attack, total brutality. And that was a good journey. Everybody drink. Little. All right, I'm going to switch drinks. That one's fun to drink, but the little ball gets stuck. My ball gets stuck. Sorry, no, that was really loud. This thing making noise? It is. Sorry. Dang it. I didn't want to get soda sticky stuff on my hands. I don't like sticky hands. That's why I open that with my teeth. It's terrible. But anyways, I'll be fine. Ugh, but a little uncomfortable. All right, money bags. You want that. You don't want brutal attack. Okay? I'll show you why. Money bags. Golden fog. You want that as earliest as possible. The more gold you get throughout the run, that is going to be your biggest, that is going to give you the biggest advantage and the highest buffage and for your marches. Okay, money bags, golden fog, laws of survival. All right, this is so crucial to this, and you're going to want to get that before stage 13. Why? Because the poison fog starts on stage 13. And in order to score the highest, you want to clear out the fog in every level, even if it's poisonous, because those are points and they get you more gold. Then you are going to, I should have put this Hand of Famine as number 3, Laws of Survival is 4, because you don't need to get Laws of Survival until before stage 13. You can get it at stage 13, but there's potential for danger there. Hand of Famine. Money bags, golden fog, and hand and famine are your, those 3 buffs will make you the strongest you can possibly be in this minigame. Crazy, right? All right, it's gold and hand of famine. These will stack too. Laws of survival, you don't need to stack. Golden fog, you don't need to stack. You can't stack money bags, but you can stack hand of famine. Pick it multiple times, and it stacks. It's nuts how high your buffs for your siege troops can get because of what hand of famine does in combination with this. Then, in order to score the highest, you're going to want field hospital. Getting that as early as possible is going to save more and more troops as you progress through the stages. And you need to end this minigame, your run, on having the most amount of troops left still. Okay? And the only way to ensure you will have the most is by field hospital. You will get 20% of the troops lost in each battle back. All right, you won't see it. You can look at the numbers. It's hard to see that, but it really makes a difference. And because irregardless, not a word by the way, of how strong you are going to be by the end, you're still going to lose some troops. And field hospital will make sure that you don't lose all of them. All right, that would have been lost, thus keeping more troops and making your score as high as possible. Field hospital also stacks. Field hospital gives you 20% back of the troops lost. So if you get that 5 times, I only got it up to 4 times in one run that I was just like, psycho, I have to get this. But I didn't get some of these other ones. I kept more troops than I ever had in any of the other ones, and I tied the 11,250 score. It stacks 20, 40, 60, 80. You could potentially become invincible if you get 5 field hospitals. It's crazy, but you're going to have to be strong enough to pass the other stages. It gets pretty tough. Makes sense? Field hospital, you needs it. You need skis. Triple lines is going to be what kind of finishes all of this up, because you're going to be running through this minigame only using 3 march slots. We'll tell you why when we get into it, all right? So triple lines is going to maximize your power. Your performance on top of all of these is, even if you don't get triple lines, you'll score wicked high, but you'll never put more than the 3 marches at them. Okay? Because you want to conserve troops. The triple lines, boom, that's the cherry on top. And then at stage 11, you will have an opportunity to get one of 4 or 5 or 6 buffs. I don't know how many in that one. You must get strength in numbers. So sorry about that. What does that do? It gives you a 10% increase to your march size capacity. The more troopers that you have in your marches, when you get to the end, the highest your score will be, can be, all right? And then if you really want to make it just insane and you haven't stacked, the Hand of Famine, that much or at all, and maybe you didn't get triple lines, Hand of Plague can take its place, but it's not going to be as potent as those others. Okay, you may or may not know, excuse me, what these skills are in particular. All right, but these are the ones you want to look out for. Moneybags gives you 50 gold right at the beginning, and it doubles the gold you receive from every battle that you fight. Okay, and then getting golden fog, you get double the gold from all of the fog you clear because of money bags. Makes sense? The more gold you get, boom, teams up with Hand of Famine, which, so sorry, increases your troops' attack and defense exponentially. It's 0.5%, I believe, for each piece of gold that you have. So you want to gather all the gold that you can. Double it up, starting with 50. Every fog gives you 2 gold pieces. Hand of Famine is just shooting your stats, your buffs up so high, and if you stack it, boom, there's another one on top. It's nuts. I think I had mine over 3,000, power level 3,000. It was so cool to see. All right, and discover that. And then, of course, being very strong, saving all those troops with triple lines, which in using 3 march lines, you get 333% increase to attack, defense, and HP. Can you see why tripling or 333% on top of 3,000 buffs because of all this gold you have with these other buffs, plus triple lines will stack too. So you get 999% for each battle. It's crazy. That's why I loved playing this. I still love playing it. It's going to be fun. Can't wait to do something with you. Strength in numbers, more troops. You're going to be stronger than the more troops you have with all these buffs. Yeah. All right. And Hand of Plague is going to increase your stats. I don't quite remember the specific ones, based on how many rune words you get throughout your run. You're going to get gold every time. You're going to get an opportunity to get an epic buff once at each stage. And you're going to randomly get random buffs, random troop buffs from any one of the battles in there. You won't always get those, but you'll always get gold, and you'll potentially get random buffs and potentially get rune words. Those are the things like True Sight, or the ones we want: Junior Recovery, Medium Recovery, and Senior Recovery. All right, there's a Junior Healing, which only heals 1 slot. You want the recoveries, which heal all troop slots. So you're gonna have to get lucky in getting all of these, but you can do it. I'm living proof. I know you probably don't believe me, but maybe you do, because you know how crazy I am about this, right? There's your list. There's my rundown and dissertation on why these are must-haves. Okay, and here is a picture, a screenshot of one of the one run that I had that scored the 11,250 points, and it just worked out because of some other factors. And what was I thinking? Because some other factors as far as getting troops and recruitments, and some of the levels and the points that you can get therein as well. All right, but if you can see here, there's it's got. I tried to take a picture. I couldn't get all of it on screen. Money bag stage 1, strength in numbers stage 11, laws of survival. Got that right off the bat, and I was like, yeah. You'll notice that I don't have golden fog in here. Okay, it's like, whoa, Lito, I didn't have golden fog, but I did get hand of famine down here. So I was collecting a lot of gold still, and the hand of famine just boom, it shot me up where I wanted to be. But I also had 2 triple lines, which those stack. That's 666% Iron Maiden number of the beast. Huge defense HP and attack. All right, and then 2 field hospitals. That's 40% of your troops back. This unstoppable force is a good buff, but it's random, and you never know really if it actually worked, unless maybe you took screenshots. Anyways, what is that? Unstoppable force makes your siege troops have a 33% chance of immediately killing your opponent, with them not even having a chance to attack, thus you not taking any damage or wounded. All right, like I said, you can't see it happen, but it's only a 33%. Irregardless, not a word, by the way. There are other buffs to it, I think, or the only setback with this is that you um, let's see here. It drops down to 3% against the Mayan witch doctor, which is the strongest opponent in each stage. Okay, so 33% is pretty good. So it helps. Hopefully, it helps you more, but it's random percentage, and it's 3% on the big witch doctor. So I took it because it was the best one available, right? And it's only for your siege troops. We're doing nothing but siege, baby. You got to do siege. You can only do siege. Any other troops, not going to do it. You're probably not even going to beat all of the stages. Anyways, Unbreakable Wall, sorry, is a specific siege-centered buff. I don't know the numbers exactly, but they stack as well. This happened to be, lucky upgrading. This is helpful because you get 4 chances of different buffs, randoms and epics, when you beat the Mayan witch doctor in each stage. So that could potentially help you get these must haves, all right, um, uh, uh, more often, because it's totally random. You feel me? All right. Oh, yeah, and shit. Main force suppression. You get a bunch of extra buffage on top of the regular buffs that this epic buff, a lot of buffs there. One more, why not? Um, uh, on top of it's like you get this percentage for these troops, and then an additional percentage for the troops that you have the most of in your march. Thus, we're only doing siege troops. So main force suppression, boom, shoots them sky high as far as their particular stat increases here, okay? And those stack as well. These are great stacks, all right? And then a hand of famine's like this. It was really cool. I was super surprised, but we made it happen. Must haves. This is what my best run looked like as far as the epic buffs go. How you doing? Pretty good as far as why this is what we're doing it. This is why this event's so cool. Potentially, it's free to play. This is free to play territory as far as you getting one of the best generals, if not the best, in my humble opinion, Monster Hunter, to get the best loot, the rarest loot that cost a lot of money for free. Do it, do it, or just have fun. I support you on your journey. Drink, no matter what. But if you refuse to pay, tell me about it. I'll listen to you. Don't lament too much. But if you're not doing this, you're holding yourself back. Okay? Don't complain so much if you're not willing to get into these events to capitalize on what they have to offer. Okay? Maria Theresa, arguably the best monster hunter in the game. Free. You don't even have to use Blood of Ares to awaken her. No Blood of Ares for Maria Theresa. You get her fragments from the Hecate's moon, and you're there. Free. All right? Caesar, free. You do need Blood of Ares, but you get his fragments for free on a regular basis. And I'm giving you the tools to win this. Okay? Okay. And then, of course, Poseidon's Day. It's free. Covenant Stones. You want those. Okay. Whew. So we talked about that, this, and that. That's what I wanted to do, skis. We looked at the rewards. Yeah. Here's some information. This is cool. There are all these rules. Okay. Excuse me. This event has been streamlined by Ebony, and I really appreciated that because there were some little things that I hated when it came to starting runs over. And that can be so discouraging considering that you might have to do that a whole lot depending on how things pan out. But they streamlined the most annoying part for me, which we'll get to here very briefly. All right. And that's awesome. Maybe that's going to be the piece that you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much more worth it. And I can do this because I don't have to do this one little part over and over again. And this building and items is new construction. This tells you what you get from these particular totems. This is good. We're talking about must have epic buffs. What we're going to use, only siege, these buildings and items. This is another element that needs to happen in each stage for you to get the highest score. There's not all of these totem towers are the same, clearly because of what they do, but points wise, Typhoon Totem Tower, you are going to lose a percentage of your troops, no matter what, skis, when you occupy this. But you must occupy it. Why? Because the totem is worth points. Yeah, you get this extra buffage in that particular level, and that's awesome, but the points are what are valuable. Typhoon Totem Tower gives you 70 points. No, 50 points. We'll find out. We'll see it. But it doesn't give you the highest amount. The Poisonwood Totem Tower does. This is going to reduce all your troops by 5% each time you clear one fog. You're like, yo, and I got to clear all the fog. Well, what you want to do is not clear all the fog. You want to clear the least amount of fog leading right to the totem and then occupy it to get the most points from this. These poison woods make it the hardest to pass this because you're losing troops every time you click. Plus, when you occupy it, another 10, and it doesn't give you any buffs. It just gives you 100 points. You want it, you need it. That's a lot. You want to get a Poisonwood Totem Tower on every level. It's possible, but it can be really hard sometimes, and you got to get wicked lucky to get Poisonwood Totem Tower on every level, plus all the epic buffs you want as you're going through those levels. That's the crazy Leto part of this. You might start over and refresh or go back to a checkpoint 100 times in order for that to happen. Do it. I did. But I found out how to do this the best. You must have Poisonwood Totem Towers each stage to score the highest. You won't have any Totem Towers in one stage in some of the stages. The checkpoint stages where you fight one of the witch doctors. All right, I think they're called witch doctors or guardians. I forget. All right, and then level. No, you'll still get it in level 16. I digress. All right, the Crescent Totem Tower is a bummer. You don't want that at all. Why? You're losing all these troops. Yeah, you're getting a 25% increase in these buffs through that stage, but it's only worth 20 points. Considering 20 points here as opposed to 100 points for the Poisonwood Totem, you are losing 80 points potentially each stage that you get a Crescent Totem Tower instead of a Poisonwood Totem Tower. That clearly, over the course of 15 of these 20 stages, is a huge amount of points, right? You're never going to score over, or even maybe not even over 10,000 points if you just have Crescent Totem Towers. All right? They're the best potentially in making you stronger, but the worst and not wanted because of their lack of points. Poisonwood. You want to get poisoned. You love that stuff anyways because we like to party. We like to party. Mind Camp. This is one that you will also want to see as often as possible. You can get a Mayan camp every level, every stage, but you want a good mixture of Mayan camp and live stream. This is your live stream. You will get a live stream at certain stages. Stage 8, stage 18 or 19, I forget. You're going to get it guaranteed in at least 2 particular stages, and you'll want to pick the heal 20% of your troop slot of all troop slots. Okay, you want this in conjunction with a lot of rune words that are the recovery runes, not the healing runes, but the recovery runes, and that is going to be the other element on top of all the other elements of scoring the highest. You want to recruit at mine camps. You will never use the generals you recruit from the camp. You'll never use them in a march because they're going to be mixed troops and you only want siege. But what do we want to end our mini game, our event with? The most troops possible, troopers possible. Troops is funny because troops is a group of troopers. We use the word troops in here as the singular. Hey, that's your siege troop right there. Well, it's a trooper if it's singular. It's a troop if it's one big group. So I guess that's semantics as far as just picking a piece of nitpicking. You want as many troops as possible when you end. Every time you recruit at a Mayan camp, you're getting 100,000, no, a million more or whatever. I forget. I think it's a million or 900,000. We'll see. More troops from these generals. All right. And they're going to sit back and be like, hey, are you going to use me? No, we're not. Stay there. You will lose troops from these recruitments when you occupy a building, but you're going to heal them with the live stream. If you use them in a march, you're going to lose too many to heal them all by the end. Okay. You want to recruit as much as possible to get as many troops as possible. All right. This calendar stone, no thank you. Don't want you ever. Get out of here. It's random. Hopefully you get the best one. Mayan market, this is what you won't ever get to see or use. All right, you got all this gold. You want to do no, you need to keep the gold because that's going to keep your stats high because of hand to famine. And hand to famine helps you out because it's doubling your gold for the sake of making you stronger, but you won't get to use a Mayan market. If a Mayan market shows up, it's a bummer because hopefully it was a recruitment or a live stream instead, even a Mayan calendar store. The Mayan market, you won't be able to buy any rune words or buffs in there because the hand of famine takes that away from you. Fine. You might go through this run without ever seeing a Mayan market. It's so random, and what's available in there is so random. I hate it. I hate it whenever I see it. Every now and then you could buy some recovery runes, and that will help, but you never know if they're going to be there. It could just be a bunch of nitty, and it usually is. But we don't worry about it because we at hand of famine, we can't use it anyways, and we want to keep our gold. Cool. Then you go into your runes, and none of them matter except for the recoveries. Okay? You can help yourself with the prediction rune on the last level if you want, but if you've got the Hand of Plague, every rune you have in your inventory increases your stats too. So you don't want to use any of them except for your recovery runes. Okay? Junior, medium, and senior. You want to see as much of these as possible. If you do see much of them, you're like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm going to, woo! Because it says 20% of maximum troop amount. All right? So 20%, that means, up to 80. No, it means you get 20% of the number of that march size. Thus, you can completely heal all of your troops. Okay? It gives you 20% of what was there. So if you're only missing 100,000, you've got 1 million. Boom, you get all of it back because that's less than 20%. You get up to, anyways. All right, reverse. You'll never run out of troops. You won't use that. These, nothing. Keep them because you got Hand of Plague. All of that. You don't want to know where these are because you want to kill everything and you want to take care off all the fog. All of this. You don't want to destroy any poisonwood totems. Why? If you destroy them, you don't get the points for them. You must occupy them. You got to take the hits. No, ooh, but you got all those recovery runes, and then you occupy it. Boom, problem solved. Don't ever destroy them because you'll lose. You lose too many points. You could still win. You could still score high. But this is how to do the highest. The prediction rune is one that I use if I have it on the very last stage when you fight the biggest, baddest, strongest baddie. Why? Because on that particular battle in that one, you're going to increase all your troops' attack defense and HP by 100%. That is just everything. Excuse me. Everything helps. Why not? You got it. You're on the last level. You got so many runes anyways and all this gold. You're super buff. Use the prediction rune, boom, and you will get the highest possible score ever. Cool? This is pretty new, I think, as far as what these are, what you can get. It just doesn't tell you that these are worth points. And that's the most important thing. Okay? Awesome. Don't ever enter the portal until all the fog cleared, all the baddies are slain. Everything is points. All right? Yeah, laws of survival. Talk about that. You don't get points for white fog. You get double gold because of money bags and hand of famine. Plus, that gives you 25% more gold. Okay, it gives you tons. The uh, um, the green poisonous fog. There will always be 8 clouds of it from stage 13 until the end. All right, of each level that has fog. Each green fog fart cloud poison is worth 50 points plus the gold. You want to get all the points you can, right? You want to clear the poison fog. If you don't have laws of survival, you are going to just demolish your troop count. And unless you have just a Triceratops Jurassic Park poop ton of recovery runes, you're not going to be able to recover from clearing that fog on every level because it takes you down. You've seen it, you've probably gone through it, but you need to because of their points. The rules, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Yeah. They probably talk about some stuff that I'm talking about here, but it's mostly about participation. Okay, cool. So, stage 5, 10, 17, 19, and 20. Significant as far as these stages being goodies, goodies, goodies. And they're just fine getting more art treasure scrolls. That's awesome. All right, and a little bit of rune stone chests here. All right, you passed all these once, you only can open those once, but we're going for the scores here. So sorry. These particular stages will be no fog, no nothing. All right, just one big super mamma jamma baddie. I believe it's the Mayan witch doctor. Okay, they will give you an epic buff when you defeat them. You'll open that. All right, and some of these will be checkpoints. Checkpoints. We need checkpoints. Yes. All right. So 20, you finish it. This is the end. All right. Rundown. I think we're doing great as far as what's important, what we need, not going off. I'm not going fishing. I don't need to. Everything's fine. It's SVS. I've done some things. I can't gather anything like that. I'm not rallying. Big deal. We're doing our revelation of Maya, baby. All right. Time to explore. It doesn't matter if your generals are siege generals or not. You want to pick siege troops only. Look at that. We got lucky, except for the tower back there. All right. And I'll show you a little trick here that you'll want to do. It's not a trick. You're gonna want to do this on the first level if you don't get a poison wood and the money bags. Okay. I gotta move my leg here. So, I was talking about. It doesn't matter if your troops or your generals are siege or not. You will be stronger if they're siege because they'll have higher siege buffs as those generals, right? But other generals, ground, ranged, and mounted, they will have buffs in those areas too. Okay? I'm not going to talk about how those factor in and where it comes from, but your general's level, thus your monarch level, is going to increase your general stats. If you have awakened them, yes, that is going to make them better. Okay? And if you have maxed their specialties, that will also factor in because those specialties on particular siege buff specialties will contribute to the performance of that general and the siege troops in here. All right. However, having Generals from other troop types is fine. The generals you want to pick for yourself will be because of how high their march size capacity is. That is what's most important. We want the most troops going in here with us to be the strongest at higher numbers and end this with the most amount of troops possible. Our best generals with the best march size capacities. So for me, two of them are going to be mounted troop generals. That's okay. It's okay. They're super strong, you know. They're not awakened, they can't be because they're very rare and expensive, potentially. But they have the biggest march size capacities. Thus, they'll bring the most siege troops with them. Okay? These Mayan blessings, they're different than buffs, but they're in the epic buff tab. Here we go. Money bags gets you 50 Mayan gold immediately. Thank you. And it doubles the amount of gold gained in the remaining levels of this exploring. So you're getting double gold for the rest of your explorations. You'll get double gold when you get gold in fog as well. That's why you want this one, because Hand of Famine is going to just elevate you to the levels of godhood. All right? Seems kind of like a silly one to get because you don't even know if you're going to get to a Mayan store, and that might not even help you. The gold is your strength. Okay? Money, money, money. That's Ebony's strength. They want your money so they can keep making money and bringing us this awesome game. All right? Money bags. Arrow shower, that's for ranged. You're not going to use it. Get out of here. It's worthless. Offense, defense, balance. This is an okay one because there's some siege in here. All right, but it's some for each troop type. Nay, we don't want it. We're going to pick money bags. All right, you're always going to pick one here, or you can just click out if you want to. You can click out if you want to. If you do that, you want to shut your game down and load it back up. On the mobile phone, you can't click off the screen. All right, you're going to have to, boom, reset. You can choose to reset to level 1 or last bonus level. Well, we're on level 1, so we're resetting, okay? Because I accidentally did not click the buff. If I go back here, that takes me out of the mini game, but we need to keep this in mind, that it's time to do our alliance science. Another 4 hours has passed. All right. So do your donation skis. This is good for your alliance points and your honor, because that stuff factors in as far as points and buying stuff in the alliance shop. You know this. What are you talking about? Hey, let's check out the tavern. Anyone new? Nope, we don't need them. All right, cool. Goodbye. 4 hours. That's the only thing I wanted to do there. Right on. So I exited out of it instead of reset. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen? We had money bags, the ranged shower or arrow shower, and the offense defensive balance. Is it going to stay the same? Are those buffs going to stay the same? And is it going to be a typhoon tower still? Let's go look. Because this is a little trick on a couple levels in case you don't get what you want. All right, Rye Revelation, explore again. What do we have? The typhoon totem is there still. Look at these. Our Mayan blessings changed. We still have arrow shower and money bags, but money bags was over here and arrow shower was here. Oh, but instead of offense and defense balance, you have brutal strike. Brutal strike is what I said. Hey, you want brutal strike. Why? Because it's potentially extremely powerful, but it only gets powerful when you lose troops. So if you're always healing your troops and keeping them high, you're never going to benefit from brutal strike. Brutal strike can only get you out of a jam, and then hopefully you'll be able to heal a bunch later on. But your troops gain 5% attack for every 1% troops amount lost. 500%. So half of your troops gone, yeah, you're going to be stronger, but you're not going to score any points because you're missing all those troops. So that's why you don't want brutal strike anymore. But it can help you score high still. All right? Money bags. One more time, we're going to see what those uh, uh, blessings, Mayan blessings, those will change. But I want to see one more time Does the Typhoon Totem Tower, cool, that's some great alliteration, stay here? Is it in the same spot and is it the same kind of tower? Let's try one more time. I know it. This is one of the elements of this to score high that you might have to suffer through. Kind of, all right, I got to reset it again. And I get going back to that same well and just not getting what you want is what discourages a lot of us. And it discourages me. But hey, you want Caesar, you're going to go get him. Explore again. All right. So when you did I select the buff? Damn it, I selected the buff. We know already that it would have changed. Okay. But what doesn't change when you just click back here is the totem and its location. So, bummer. We want a poisonwood totem. Okay. In order to do that, we're going to have to reset, which is fine. Exiting and resetting, it's the same thing. No big deal. To be super lucky, you'll get a poison totem up here somewhere. Thus, you'll clear less fog to get to it, and you'll minimize your loss of troops. Irregardless, not a word by the way. If it's at the very back, still go for it. Still go for it because you're going to make up those troops elsewhere. All right? Okay. So we got money bags. Yay. But we're not going to do this yet. Why? Because of this damn Typhoon Totem. However, let's look real quick to see how many, we'll see how many, let's see how many points this is worth. All right. I can't, oh, this is the one thing that has been fixed or streamlined that makes this so much more digestible. Like I can do this because I don't have to do this anymore. You go to view troops. This is where you pick your generals. Remember, all steel catapults. No other troops must be siege. I have 1,000,000 here. Okay. I don't have a general yet. I'm going to go select here. Now I have favorited here, but some of my generals now are not on my favorite list that I want to use. Remember, it's not about your strongest general. It's about your strongest general that has the highest march size capacity. And you'll be able to see the difference when you put them in the slot here. I'm going to get rid of that. Romulus, of course, he's a siege and he's got a high siege buff amount in his covenant, everything. And guess what? Skill books. The march size capacity skill book factors into this. Not just your ascension skills, yada, 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 and specialties and covenant buffs. The skill books matter. Okay? Boom. 1,320,000. That's very high, but not the highest you get. Yeah, we want this. Plus, Romulus's siege buffs are high because he's a siege general. There we go. This power number here, not going to worry about that. Okay, power number doesn't matter. What the general brings does. Okay, so march size capacity, we want that. The skills, all of it being siege and march size capacity there. Plus, we can't click on it here, but his covenant buffs too, plus a march size capacity there. That's why we want him. That's why you see his numbers high. And then these things are good too. These won't change depending on the gear. Your power level will, but these won't change depending on the gear. I don't quite know if spiritual beasts or dragons factor in. Let's not go there. Okay? So we want Romulus. Next, I'm going to want, of course, my newest and most powerful and also very high march size buff Siege General Presley O'Bannon. 1.3 million. See, Caesar's edging them out a little bit. That's all right. 1.3 is what we want. If we can keep them all above 1.3, you're going to be in great shape. Okay? So Presley O'Bannon, you can't save it until they're all full. It will make you get all of them. All right? All right. The next one, here's where we switch it up. Not going to be Siege. Hermes. Hermes is actually my strongest general in here. Why? Look at that, 1.4 million. He has the highest march size capacity buff in the game. I've looked into it. Nobody anywhere else has as high 38% march size capacity increase. That's with a level 4 skill book too. And he's so unique that you can actually equip a level 4 skill book on him, even though his main skill has a march size capacity buff. Normally, with the march size capacity buff in the main skill, you can't equip a march size capacity skill book. But since his main skill is 12% and the level 4, 12%, they equal each other. They don't cancel each other out. If this was lower, 10%, it would say main skill. General already has a higher buff in his main skill. And you can't equip it. That's a bummer. Like King Arthur's got a 14%. He can't add a march size capacity. That's what makes Hermes the strongest in this and the highest march size capacity. Main skill, march size capacity. March size capacity, 6%. March size capacity, 10%. 10, 6, 12, another 12, and then I think he's getting another 8 or 10 in his specialties, or I mean his covenant buffs. That's why he is the best of the best as far as march size capacity goes. Good, right? Okay, 1.32, 1.3, 1.4, and 2% lower than Hermes is Rostam. He's at 36%. Whoa! 1.330, 1,330,000. All right, so he even has higher than Romulus Domulus. Oh, I forgot to give them siege troops. Remember, nothing but siege. It is only siege. All right, last but not least, we have got Maria Theresa, 1.22, but that's surprisingly high because she has a march size capacity skill book on her. We don't want her. I have higher ones. You can click through all your generals to see who has got the best march size capacity, or you can even click or equip a level 4 skill book, march size skill book on a general to help in this minigame. Like I said, the skill books make a difference. All right. Ground commander. Whoa, 1.2 still. I actually don't know who my best one is now because my general lineup has changed. Olaf, 1.16. No, it's even lower. So I'm not going to go through this with you a whole bunch ad nauseum. Oh, King Arthur, he can't get the skill books on him because, like I said, 15 size percent increase. You can't add another 12 on it. It sucks. But if it was 12, anyway, you get what I'm saying. So, but if he's your strongest, of course, go for him. But I'm not going to use him. Look at this. Having to go through all your list, that is annoying, right? Well, I'm going to favorite this now, so that's going to shorten my list. Who has the next best? Is it Lorenzo? Ooh, 1,310,000. He's a ground general, but he's got a super high march size capacity. I don't know if anybody is higher than that right now. I'm going to look, but march size capacity skill book, that is factoring in. I'm telling you, skis, I'm telling you. Covenant's everything. What about Martian? No, wow, he's way low. He doesn't have the skill book on him, all right? Let's see here. 1.15, Tistria doesn't have the skill book. Rostam does. So these are very strong, very powerful, and they have march size capacity buffs, but not as high. Gonzalo, 1.2. Oh, no. Nicolo, whoa. No skill book. Irene does not have a skill book either because it would get canceled out by Presley O'Bannon. So she's real low, too. You get what I am saying? Potentially, you could have you wouldn't have a wall general. They don't have any skills or anything that buffs march size capacity. It doesn't matter for them. You can equip, if you got an awakened Boudica and you want to equip a level 4 skill book on her for the sake of her strength, yeah, go for it. But it is going to be Lorenzo. All right. It could be as well. No, he's only 1.2 now. So Lorenzo blows him out of the water. Cool. That is new for me because I didn't have him the last time I scored that high. So that is awesome. All of our generals with the highest march size capacity and anything above 1.2 million is really good. And I've got them all up above 1.3 now. That makes me happy. All right. I am really picky and annoying. So what I'm going to do here now, forgive me. Shit. Romulus, he doesn't have the highest. He doesn't have the highest amount, right? Who is the highest amount? Hermes does. So I like to do highest to lowest. Damn it, they're not in there, are they? I know, and I screwed up. I didn't save it, so I'm going out. All of that work to line this up, right? That's a lot of work. It's annoying. Some of them are favorited, some of them aren't. What I used to do with this is get rid of my favorite list and then favorite just the generals I was going to use because I had to add them every time. Every time I reset level 1, I had to go back into view troops and redo the lineup. That is a lot of extra stuff. It might not seem like it this one time, but when you do it 50, 60, 70, 1,000 times, this part sucks. Thank you, Ebony, for fixing it because once you save your March loadouts, you never have to touch them again. So you can just go for it. Oh, yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so Hermes, the most, 1.4 million. All right, the next, shit, do I remember? Rossum at 1.33, right? Yeah. See, I mean, I'm looking here and I'm like, even on my short favorites, I'm looking and it's frustrating. Rostam, 1.33. There you go. The next one, Romulus. He is 1.32. Oh, man. He's in my Council of State map. 1.32. Clicking, having to do this every time. God, I was pulling my hair out, but I'm like, I am committed. I must do this. I must do this. All right. That who was that? Was that my fourth one? Romulus, Lorenzo 1.31. Okay. 1.32. And my last one was, oh yeah, Presley O'Bannon. Doy. 1.3. He's actually got the lowest amount, but 1.3 is super high. All right. So what I like to do is have highest to lowest. I want to take the most troops I have into each battle. So just clicking the first three, there you go. That is the most troops that I have. I'm trying to make this as easy and fluid as possible and not think about anything except for what I want in these levels. Okay? The, the minigame helps you out as far as who has the largest amount in their march still anyways. I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but yes, that's nice. But you can help yourself a little bit by just doing this right away. Boom. Okay. 1.4 million, 1.33 million, 1.32 million, 1.31 million, 1.3 million. That is a fine, fine loadout. Holy cow, this is going to be fun. And then you click save skis. Once the troops are saved, they cannot be changed for this round. That just means you can't go change your generals and troops. You don't want to. It's all siege. We're going. Boom, confirmed. Check this out. We got money bags, but we don't want the Typhoon Totem. Let's go look as far as the points go. Troop buff, epic buff. That is a glitch that they have not fixed since they redid this. When you first click on attributes, it's going to pull up your epic buff. You must click over there, then click back to look at this. General buff, stage buff. Stage buff means all the buff that you have acquired over the whole, all the stages. Not just this one stage, but all of them. Okay? These are Hermes buffs for every troop type. Look, he's got siege buffs too. Okay? And then, oh, he's got 40% march size capacity. Wow, I said 38. Rasta must be 38. All right. So he's got some good siege buffs already. That's awesome. Siege machine attack, 243% right there. Ooh, 257. Boom, 485 here. See, your siege is really going to help because they're starting with great buffs already, 34%. But it doesn't have to be a siege general. 269. All right, that is great. And 552. Holy smokes, Presley O'Bannon. You're crazy, fool. You're crazy. That's cool. These are new. Well, you can see it before, but I've never really looked at it. All right. So those are their buffs still. Let's look at Hermes. Siege machine attack 243%. Why are you looking at this, Lito? I want to see if other things factor in. This is going to be crazy. Okay. 109. This is going to be crazy, but to experiment with what in this game contributes to this mini game is very interesting to me, and perhaps you too. I'm going to write down this number. We're just going to, it doesn't matter which gender you look at, 243% is what we're seeing as far as the attack goes. Well, if you're like me, in the Wisdom Dome, your Wisdom Dome, you equip rare books. Yes, yes. Well, there's a difference in them, right? I right now have defending siege machine defense here for Siegecraft. That doesn't help my troops there because they're not defending, they're attacking. I don't know if this is going to help, but let's see. Let's switch it out. I have an in rally siege machine attack. Are they in a rally? Technically, no, but let's look to see if this does contribute. Boom, we equipped attack. His Hermes was at 243%. Did it change? Did it change, skis? Where? There we go. Oh, no, dingus. There we go. Explore. We didn't start going. If we came back in here, well, we saved it. So that's all right. View troops. Those are the troops' attributes. See, look, it starts there. Where'd it go? Click over, click back. It's annoying. All right, it's still 243%. That's cool to know. That was an in rally. But now I'm a stinker. Siege machine defense 237. Why am I looking at defense? I have another rare book that buffs attacking siege machine defense. Now, these siege troops are attacking. They're not in rally, but they are attacking. Let's see if our siege machine defense is going to increase because of that other rare book I have. Let's go out of here again. Boop, boop. These are ways to help you get through here and score the most points. Yes, the goddess attendant. Let's switch it out. Attacking siege machine defense. Technically, this would work because that's what they're doing. We won't get this in rally, but will the defense increase? I don't know why I scanned down there as if the menu's not right here, you know? All right, we're at 237% for our siege defense on Hermes, right? I wish they'd fix that a little bit extra. Those little extra things are annoying. 237. So no, that doesn't factor in either. Cool. We nipped that one in the bud. All right. That's good to know. I'm gonna, just so I don't forget, I'm gonna switch it back. It doesn't take that long. Bear with me. All right, because I'm on defense now technically, and said in case something crazy happened. Whoa. Well, you have got um, Monarch gear, right? Does Monarch gear factor in? I don't know. I have a siege attack and siege defense. Siege defense technically would work because it's for. I just named it siege defense, and this is siege attack. No matter what they're doing, let's take a look. Okay, we know the stats already. Come on. I have had trouble finding this one. I don't know why. Okay, here we go again. 243, 237. It is the same. So Monarch gear is not factoring in. That is fine. That's good to know how it flows. Slow and low, that is the tempo. Okay, was there something else that I wanted to see? One more thing. One more thing, my friends. Military tactics. Use to activate, own to activate. These are unconditional buffs. Okay? These buffs here, you benefit everywhere because you own this. Using it, however, you got to be using it in your march. We're not technically using this in my revelation, but we own this, thus these will factor in. That's why Hermes has siege attack buffs. Your buffs from everywhere else that contribute to your buffs factor into this. That's why a mounted troop general who doesn't have any siege skills anywhere, except for a skill book maybe, why would you do that? They have them there too. I can't increase this right now because I don't have the tactic fragments. I've got a lot of these. I can level these up, but this is the use. This is the use to activate. All right. So we're not going to get it. This own to activate only comes in the breakthrough. Own to activate, unconditional. You get these skills to pay the bills, and the own to activate. I don't have 750 yet, but you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to invest in this for the sake of defense. It's going to be huge, huge. All right. Your military tactics are factoring in. It would have been cool to level that up to C, but glad we went over that detail. Okay. We're investing in those. Of course, I'm going to do another thing. We're going to take a look at the buffs here. In city, attacking, siege defense. We wouldn't get in city, but this attacking, and this siege defense technically would work because these are your buffs that contribute to all siege wherever. Anywho, let's see. Let's take this out of here and see if our numbers changed. Okay, because we're crazy like that. We'll just put in somebody who. Can I just remove them? I don't know. I know I'm crazy. I did switch them out. I don't want anybody in there because I don't want. But you only get a tag. You see 4%. Great. So very little. Let's go look in a book. Oh, I hope you're all doing well. I love you. Peace. No, we're gone. This is fun. We haven't even gotten to the run yet. There are so many details that I want you to know about this. That's what we do here. You want me to show you, and we're going and we're looking together. Yeah. All right. So attributes once again. This is the last thing we'll look elsewhere. 243, 237. It is the same. Okay. We got to the bottom of it. That's okay. That's okay. So irregardless, now you're going to want to have, all of your buffs as best as possible wherever they are, but it's good to know. I like that. I know now. Oops. Um, that, Ramis. Okay, good. That, things contribute or don't in case you wanted to help yourself more, right? Okay. Now, my friends, since we got to the bottom of it, we're going into and actually going to do a run. We're going to finish this together. And this is going to be a much longer video than I anticipated. All right. So I think what I'll do now, since we have now taken an hour and 17 minutes to get to beginning the run, that is a good spot to end this and start another a second video in the series that is specific to beginning the run. Now that we've got all the context, it's been provided. I'm sure I'm missing a detail that I wanted to talk about here and there, but it's just more. That's more of the pedantics that I just fall in love with. All right, the minutia. That's a better one. Pedantic would be an annoying person, and I probably am, but I'm getting pedantic. All right, so I am going to stop this one here because we are ready to begin the run, and we don't have to do any sort of intros or anything in the next one, right? Because we know what's up. I do love you, and I want your life to be full of peace and awesomeness and prosperity, but we're not done yet. So until next time, see you next fall. Did you have a nice trip? Do I have any hairs tickling? We'll see you soon.